Welcome once again to Talking Point. I'm Mayor Mike, and today we decided to go on the road. With me is Sergeant Paul Piotrowski of the Stevens Point Police Department, and we are talking about school safety. With school coming back in just a few weeks, we want to talk to the sergeant about traffic safety, pedestrian safety, things that the kids need to know. So welcome, Paul.
Thank you. We're just approaching Jefferson School, their designated pickup and drop-off spots. Here on Jefferson Street at East is the busiest school crossing for an adult crossing guard, watching traffic from three different directions.
Sure, and you've got the parochial school right on the other side of the street, too.
We actually have three schools within a couple of blocks. We have Jefferson's Daycare Preschool, Jefferson School, and then we also have St. Paul's Lutheran. This side of the school is only for walkers. The pickup and drop-off spot for vehicles is actually on Oak Street, which is on the east or on the south side of the school.
Okay.
We did a survey of each of the schools about 8 years ago, trying to determine the safest spot for kids to be picked up and dropped off at school. Here at Jefferson School, it's on Oak Street. We'll come down the other side and you can see the signs that they have posted.
Okay.
But vehicles drop off on the same side of the street as the school, so when they pull up at the school, the passenger side of the vehicle's next to the curb. The kids can get out on the sidewalk and they don't have to cross traffic. Several years ago we had an accident with a child getting hit over by McKinley School because a parent was dropping off on the opposite side of the street. Kids were running between vehicles across the street, and the child ended up getting run over there.
So maybe the best thing that we can advise for parents who do not have children that they're dropping off or picking up is just avoid those areas. If you don't have a reason to be in that area when school is letting out or getting started, just avoid that. Find an alternate route. That's the best thing, right?
Right. If you're not going to the school during the school times, normally from 8:30 to 9 or 3:30 to 4. If you don't have to be there, it's already congested, try to avoid that area. If you're picking up or dropping off kids and it's not something you generally do, ask the person you're doing the favor for where I should do that.
Okay.
Because there are designated spots.
That's good to know too. So if you have someone else picking up the kids or things like that, get all of that information from the parents ahead of time. What's the rules regarding crosswalks near schools?
You should stop for any kids waiting at the curb. It's just safest that way. Let them stop, let them cross. If you need to, turn on your four-way flashers, especially if there's a lot of traffic. Here at Jefferson School, Division Street's only a block away.
Right.
We have a crossing guard who mans Jefferson and Division. She generally waits for a red light in order to start crossing children, but it can last longer than the light, so pay attention. They're out there with stop signs. There's generally cones or a board of some sort saying that it's a school crossing.
Okay. And as far as the school zone speed limits, it's 15 miles an hour.
School zone speed limits are 15 miles an hour. During the school year, if officers who are assigned to that area of the city aren't busy, they are supposed to be running radar in the school zones. There are multiple school zones. The ones generally people see us at are going to be on Church Street, Church and Rice, Division and Jefferson, Michigan Avenue. There are three different spots on Michigan Avenue, at Jefferson, Rice, and Heffron.
Okay. So part of the reason we're doing this is just to raise awareness, re-educate people, if you will. With school coming back, we do the same thing, I suppose, with winter driving in Wisconsin. That first snowfall is always a little bit exciting. But let's say bicycles. A lot of kids bike to school. What's the rule regarding bicycles on the sidewalks?
There's not a law that states when you should be riding on the sidewalk and when they should be riding in the street.
Okay.
My general rule when I talk to parents or I talk to children, if you're high school age or older, you should probably be riding on the street.
Makes sense.
Older children and adults should be riding in the street.
High school kids and younger should be riding on the sidewalks, right?
Junior high and younger on the sidewalks, high school and older in the streets.
Okay.
The reason for that is when you get older, generally speaking, the speed of a bicycle on the sidewalk is about 15 miles an hour. Motorists are not looking for vehicles, and the bicycle's considered a vehicle, moving that fast on the sidewalk.
Right.
In the last 3.5 years, we've had 56 reportable car versus bike accidents in the city. Almost half of them are vehicles making turns and hitting bicyclists driving on the sidewalk.
Driving on the sidewalks.
We're currently on Division Street. About a third of our car versus bike accidents occur on Division Street and the streets that cross Division.
Since we're approaching Franklin and Division here, we've got these new rectangular rapid flash beacons and the crosswalks. Let's talk a little bit about the rules regarding these striped crosswalks and the requirements of vehicles to stop, as well as the pedestrians' requirement to use the crosswalks.
Safest to use the crosswalks where there's one of these flashing lights or at a signal light. When there's not a signal light, like the flashing crosswalk back here, when a pedestrian's in the crosswalk, vehicles are required to stop.
Okay.
So at that, activate the signal, wait for a small break in wait for a break in traffic, and then begin to cross the street. At that point, pedestrians have the right of way. Vehicles must stop for pedestrians or bicyclists crossing the street.
I think that's a thing that people who drive motor vehicles don't always remember. It's not fresh in their mind. So again, part of this show is to educate people and remind them that you are required to stop. If there's a pedestrian getting ready to cross the street, stop. If you see those lights flashing, and those are new, stop. You're required to stop. And we're also going to be putting out extra enforcement as another mechanism to remind people
Correct.
Of their responsibilities.
With the increase in pedestrian traffic with the beginning of the school year, both the regular school year, K through 12, and the university school year, the number of pedestrians and bicyclists increases dramatically in the fall. That's only 2 weeks away. School begins in 2 weeks. September 1st is the start date for public schools. That's also the move-in date for freshmen at the university. So we will have officers concentrating on doing pedestrian and bicycle safety enforcement for both bicyclists, pedestrians, and vehicles.
Okay.
So people should make sure to stop for people who are at the crosswalks waiting to cross, or if they're in the street, you're required by law to stop. People tend to do a lot better job of that in the downtown area than they do elsewhere in the city.
Okay. Now we're kind of getting into the campus area of town. I know that gets a little hectic when classes get out, especially with the influx of nearly 10,000 students. There's a lot more pedestrian, bicycle, skateboard traffic in this area of the city. Let's talk about some of those rules. Skateboards in the road, crossing. I know when traffic gets out, when I was a student, we would try and take the path of least resistance. You know, the shortest distance between two points is a straight line. So we would cross almost wherever. I think a majority of the students look for vehicles and try and cross at least when nothing's coming. But let's talk about the rules there and the requirements for both motor vehicle operators and pedestrians.
If you're driving through the university, anytime within a quarter of the hour and probably 5 to 10 minutes after the hour, there's going to be a ton of pedestrian traffic.
Yeah, you should take a different route.
If you can, take a different route, but if you're heading for St. Mike's, you have a doctor's appointment over at the clinic, you don't have much choice but to cut through campus if you're coming from west of Division Street. Pedestrians should be using crosswalks, whether they're designated crosswalks at corners or like up here at Quant Gym, there's a crosswalk in the middle of the block that's designated. Pedestrians should be using those crossings.
Okay.
It's just much safer.
Yeah.
And they're guaranteed the right of way once they're in those designated crosswalks. If they're crossing mid-block where there isn't, it's incumbent upon the pedestrian to make sure that there's no traffic that they're going to cause to stop.
Yeah,
okay?
it gets frustrating for drivers, I know, because this whole stretch of 4th Avenue is between classes. It's constant student crossings. The best way, of course, is to avoid it, but everybody should be following the rules. Students crossing the crosswalks. Vehicles, stop when you're supposed to stop. And I think we'll get along much better that way.
And then this year we also have the complicating factor of the construction zone,
sure.
which also created an issue with parking because we lost 120 parking spots. So parking is more spread out, especially to the east. Residents in the area of Peck Street, in that area east of Michigan Avenue, have noticed a dramatic increase in the number of vehicles parked there.
Any other major issues you see traffic related when school's starting to come back in session?
People need to slow down, especially in and around the area where they know there's going to be grade school students. We have 8 different grade schools in the city of Stevens Point. Especially the first week or two of school, the kids are really excited. They haven't seen their friends most of the summer, and they're not paying attention to traffic. So it's best as we as adults and drivers slow down when we're entering those areas. We pretty much know where they are. We should know where they are if we live in the area. Slow down, make sure you're ready to stop, prepared to stop, to give those kids a little extra cushion of safety.
The nice thing is we've got signs on all of this, so that's nice. The school crossing signs, be aware of those. If you see them, you should always be vigilant of pedestrians or bicyclists or skateboarders as a motor vehicle operator, but I think you need to be extra cautious for that time period when school's coming back. It really is extra important.
And we will also be putting out our speed boards. We can attach those to street sign poles.
Speed boards, those are the ones that show you the speed?
They tell you your speed that you're doing as you're going through the area during the first several weeks of the school year. Those will be posted near school zones.
Okay.
As well as the school crossing guards, the adult school crossing guards are given forms at the beginning of the year. We're having a meeting on August 29th. If they have a vehicle that goes through the school crossing, they can write down the plate number, they turn it in to myself, and then when there's follow-up done and citations are issued to motorists who disobey or completely ignore the adult crossing guards.
Okay, that makes sense. I know, most people are responsible. They watch for people, they follow the rules, but you're always going to get that segment of society that wants to try and maybe get away with something, or maybe they're just inattentive. They need to get to that appointment, or they're running late for something. But it's really, really important that you follow these safety laws to prevent some potentially catastrophic accidents.
There's also a new law into effect for this school year with school buses having to have both amber and red flashing lights. In areas where the speed limit's above 45 miles an hour, they would need to turn those lights on 300 feet before they stop to pick up students.
Okay.
Within the city of Stevens Point, they'll turn on the amber lights about 100 feet before they stop, and then just as they're pulling to a stop, the red lights come on. So please be aware when those yellow lights come on. There's both yellow and red flashing lights now on school buses. When the yellow lights come on, it means the bus is about to stop. When the red lights come on, it means the bus is stopping.
Okay, that's good to know. So yellow lights means that they're going to be stopping soon. Red lights mean it is stopping.
Correct.
So good. That gives drivers a little extra warning, I suppose.
Correct.
Good.
This is a change in the state law. This is we're one of the last 2 states to enact the amber and then red flashing light system for school buses when they're coming to a stop.
Okay, good. Again, anything that we might be missing that people may want to be reminded of?
For motorists, remember that bikes are vehicles. They're entitled to be in the street. Play vehicles such as skateboards, because they're considered a play vehicle by statute, are not supposed to be in the public street.
Okay.
Bicyclists are considered a vehicle and have the same rights and responsibilities. For bicyclists, you're a vehicle. You're required to stop at all stop signs. You need to follow the rules of the road just like a car would.
And if someone has questions regarding the rules or where school zones are, where can they call?
They can call the Stevens Point Police Department, and they can probably call me directly at 715-341-4103.
Okay.
I'm the Community Resource Officer. I deal with the Safety Cadet Program, the Adult Crossing Guards, in addition to my other duties. So I'm aware of where those best pick-up and drop-off spots are at each of the schools and what times of the day that our adult crossing guards are out.
Okay, great. I think that covers everything we wanted to talk about regarding school safety. Just a reminder that everybody needs to follow the rules, bicyclists, motorists, pedestrians. If we all follow the rules, we're going to have a very safe school year. We're now going to go back into the studio to talk to Assistant Fire Chief Jeff Davis regarding some fire safety issues and the upcoming Guns and Hoses softball charity event that's going to be coming up at Bugle Park. So until next time, this is Mayor Mike with Sergeant Paul Piotrowski, and we've been Talking Point.